Hi there, welcome or welcome back to our channel. In this video, we're going to go over a full Cambridge Advanced Speaking exam. So we're going to take you through every stage of the exam, give you full instructions and also some tips and strategies to doing well in each part of the exam. So you're going to get real exam style practice so that you know exactly what to expect on exam day. After every stage of the test, we're also going to give you super handy self-assessment checklists. So you can assess, you can check your own performance according to Cambridge exam criteria. So you definitely want to get those. So if you're preparing for the Cambridge Advanced Speaking exam, or you just want to know more about it, then I highly suggest that you subscribe to Home Studies. So before we get going with the speaking test, let's establish some of the basics. So the full speaking test takes about 15 minutes. And in that time, you cover 4 parts: the interview, the long turn, the collaboration, and the discussion. Now, you talk with the examiner, the other candidate, and on your own, depending on the task. First, let's talk about the interview. So this is a conversation that you and the other speaking candidate have separately with the examiner who asks you questions. So you might have to give information about topics like your hometown, your interests, your studies or career, your holidays and travel, or your future plans. So you give information about yourself, and then you give your opinion about these personal as well as general topics. So this part of the exam is quick. You only talk for 2 minutes, and that's for both candidates. In the first part of the test, I'd like to get to know something about you. Pause the video and answer the exam questions on the next slide one by one. You should spend about 5 seconds on the warm-up questions and about 15 seconds on each of the other ones. If you can, record yourself speaking and listen back to the answers to see how you did. So, how do you think that went? Well, if you recorded your answers, now it's time to listen back and self-assess. You can ask yourself, have I used C1 vocabulary, so vocabulary that is appropriate to the level? Have I used a wide variety of grammar structures? So you can't have everything in the present, the past, and the future simple. You have to show a greater grammar knowledge than that. Then, have I answered the questions in general? So have you stuck to the questions asked? You haven't gone off on another topic. And have I supported my answers with reasons and examples? It's very important for the advanced exam that you can justify and develop your answers. So if you have any questions about what any of these subcategories involve, then you might want to watch the other videos in our series as we cover these all in detail. So secondly, let's talk about part 2, which is the long turn. So in this part of the speaking test, the examiner gives you 3 pictures, and you have to choose 2 of them to talk about. Now you have to speak for about 1 minute without any interruption, and then when you're done, the examiner will ask the other candidate, your speaking partner, to comment on what you have said. So your job in this part of the exam is to talk on your own about the pictures. You need to compare, describe what's there, and then you need to give your opinions about them. You need to speculate what they might be about. So again, it doesn't last very long. It's only 1 minute per candidate, and then you speak for about 30 seconds about your partner's pictures. In this part of the test, I'm going to give each of you 3 pictures. I'd like you to talk about 2 of them on your own for about 1 minute, and also to answer a question briefly about your partner's pictures. First, take 10 seconds to look at the task. Now, pause the video and speak for about 1 minute about your 2 pictures. When you're ready, press play and we'll continue. Thank you. And now a question for your speaking partner. It would look something like this. Which of these masks do you think is the least necessary? They could then speak for about 30 seconds to respond to this question. Now, if you can, listen back to your speaking and ask yourself the following questions. Okay, it's time to self-assess. So have I answered both the questions for both pictures? Now, this is one of the most common mistakes that people make in this part of the speaking test. For example, they spend too much time describing and comparing both pictures, so they don't have time to answer the questions, or they focus on one picture more than the other. It's your job in the exam to manage your time so that you can complete both tasks in the minute. Have I compared the pictures using suitable linking words? So comparison is a key skill in this part of the test. Have I expressed my opinion clearly in a variety of ways? So you don't just want to say, I think, and in my opinion. This is not C1 language. And finally, have I used the language of speculation in my speaking? So these topics, language for comparing and speculating and giving opinions, is actually a bit complicated, and it's very important you get this right for the speaking test. So if you feel like you need to work on that, you might want to sign up for our Cambridge Advanced e-learning course and or watch the other videos in our series. You can find the links below. Thirdly, let's talk about part 3, which is the collaboration. So this is a task that you do with your speaking partner. The examiner gives you both a mind map with written prompts, and you need to talk with the other candidate about these prompts in order to answer the question that is posed in the middle of the mind map. Now, after the discussion time, the examiner will ask you another question that you need to talk about with your speaking partner and make a decision or reach some agreement together. So your job here is to exchange ideas with them. You need to give and justify your opinions, but also react to theirs, so agree or disagree. Then you need to speculate, evaluate, and reach a decision about the task. So this one is a bit longer. It takes about 3 minutes. So there's the 2-minute initial discussion and then the 1-minute decision-making task. For this part of the exam, you need a speaking partner. So pause the video and go and find one, okay? It can be your sister or your dad or a friend of yours or perhaps your English teacher. Doesn't matter, you just need someone who can speak a bit of English who can do this task with you. Okay, so go and find them and then come back and press play when you're ready to do the task together. Now I'd like you to talk about something together with your speaking partner for 2 minutes. Here are some facilities that might be needed in your area and a question for you to discuss. You have 15 seconds to look at the task. Thank you. Now, pause the video, set a timer for 2 minutes, and then do the speaking task. When you're ready, press play, and we'll continue together. Now, talk together and decide which of these facilities would be the most beneficial for a village. Again, pause the video, then set your timer for 1 minute and press play when you're ready to go on. once again, it's time to see how well you did in this part of the test. So please, when you ask yourself these questions, focus on your performance, focus on you. Don't worry about what your partner did or didn't do. This is a self-assessment. So have I given reasons and examples to justify my opinions? This is a crucial skill at C1. Have I engaged my speaking partner and asked for their opinions? Again, this is very important. It's not a monologue. You don't want to dominate the discussion. You have to remember to ask your partner for their opinions and bring them into the conversation too. Have I found some links and connections between the points and the prompts? So this is a common mistake people make when they just speak robotically about one prompt after another. It's much better if you can move organically around the task. Try and find connections and links between them so the whole thing feels much more natural. And have I used a range of C1 language in my speaking? So am I using level appropriate vocabulary, collocations, and idioms to show that I am a strong candidate at C1 level? And finally, part 4, the discussion. So this discussion is an extension of what you and the other candidates spoke about in part 3. So in every exam, part 3 and part 4 are connected. The examiner asks each of you some questions, and then you discuss them with your speaking partner. This is a very important point. Candidates often make a mistake by trying to discuss the topic with the examiner. But no, the examiner just asks the questions, and then you need to interact with your speaking partner. So your job here is, again, to express and justify your opinions, and then agree and or disagree with what your speaking partner says. So this discussion, again, takes a bit longer. It's about 5 minutes, so you really have the time to develop your opinions and showcase your language skills. Now, to finish the test, we're going to talk about the local area in general. In the exam, you discuss these questions with your speaking partner. So if they are still around, then I encourage you to do this task with them. If you do not have a speaking partner, then simply answer the questions on your own. Pause the video and answer the questions one by one. You should spend about 20 seconds on each one. If you can, record yourself speaking and then listen back to your answers to see how you did. So now it's time to do a final self-assessment. So some of these questions might be repeats from before, but it is important just to go through them one by one to make sure you didn't miss anything out. So have I given reasons to justify my answers? Have I provided examples to support my ideas? Have I used a range of C1 language in my speaking? And have I agreed or disagreed with my speaking partner using appropriate language? Now, the language for expressing agreement and disagreement in English is actually quite complicated, and there's a bit into it. So if you are not very fluent or confident with this topic, then I do suggest that you enroll in the Home Studies Advanced e-learning course where we can help you with this, or you can watch additional videos in the series. You can find the links to those below. Okay, great job. That is the end of the test. Well, that's going to do it. I hope you're feeling a lot more confident about the speaking test and what to expect at the different stages. And I also hope you've got a better idea of your strengths and weaknesses. Now, if you do feel like you need to improve, then please get in touch with Home Studies, because we specialize in exam preparation courses and we can pair you up with an experienced trainer who can help to get you there. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I do so hope I'll be seeing you in the next video.